I stood in my penthouse office overlooking Manhattan's skyline, examining the final mock-up of tomorrow's event invitations. Rose and Pearl Luxury Cosmetics. A New Era Begins was embossed in gold on cream cardstock. Fitting, since I was about to transform the stagnant luxury brand into something extraordinary. My phone buzzed with another condescending text from Victoria Rose, my mother-in-law. Darling, it's not too late to cancel this little soiree. Real business leaders don't throw parties like a teenager who just got her first paycheck. If only she knew that while she was busy criticizing my little party, I'd spent the last year secretly acquiring shares of her family's company through various shell corporations. Tomorrow, her precious Rose and Pearl Cosmetics would officially be mine. Miss Sullivan. My assistant Kate appeared at the door. The event planners need final approval on the presentation sequence. I kept my maiden name specifically for this moment. Tomorrow, Sullivan Beauty Labs would officially merge with Rose and Pearl, creating the largest luxury beauty conglomerate on the East Coast. Has Mrs. Rose confirmed her attendance? I asked, already knowing the answer. No, she's hosting a competing charity dinner. She's convinced half the board members to attend her event instead. I smiled. Perfect. Let them enjoy their last night of blissful ignorance. My husband James called as I was reviewing the merger documents. Olivia, Mom's really upset about this party. Maybe we should just do something smaller. 3 years of marriage and he still defaulted to his mother's opinions. The invitations are sent, James. Everything's arranged. But Mom says it's embarrassing. A serious CEO wouldn't. I'll see you tomorrow. I cut him off. Don't be late. The truth was, James had no idea I'd built Sullivan Beauty Labs from a small startup into a powerhouse over the last 5 years. He thought I was just playing at business, just like his mother did. Neither of them noticed when I started acquiring their company's shares or when I began poaching their top researchers. Victoria had been too busy planning James's eventual succession to notice her empire crumbling. She still thought her son would inherit everything despite his complete lack of business acumen or interest in the beauty industry. The next evening, I stood in the Plaza Hotel's grand ballroom, overseeing the final preparations. The stage was set with 2 massive screens currently showing the Rose and Pearl logo. In an hour, that logo would change to reveal the new merged brand. Mrs. Rose is live posting from her charity dinner, Kate reported, showing me Victoria's social media updates. She's calling this event a desperate attempt at attention from an amateur. Is everything ready with the SEC filing? Yes. The moment you make the announcement, it goes public. The ballroom began filling with guests, beauty industry executives, fashion editors, influencers, and most importantly, Rose and Pearl's major stockholders. The ones Victoria hadn't managed to divert to her charity dinner. Your numbers for the last quarter were impressive. Robert Chen, one of Rose and Pearl's biggest investors, approached me. Very impressive. Wait until you see what's next. I smiled, knowing he'd already agreed to the merger weeks ago. At exactly 8 p.m., the lights dimmed. I took the stage, feeling the weight of the moment. Welcome to a new era in luxury beauty, I began. The ballroom doors burst open. Victoria Rose stood there in her designer gown. James behind her, both looking flushed. Sorry to crash your little party, Victoria announced loudly, but I thought it was time someone taught you about real business. Perfect timing. Actually, Mrs. Rose, I smiled, you're just in time for a lesson of your own. The screens behind me changed, showing the merger announcement. Victoria's face went from smug to shocked as she read the headlines. As of this moment, I continued, Sullivan Beauty Labs and Rose and Pearl Cosmetics have merged to create Sullivan Rose Beauty Group. I'd like to thank our majority shareholders for their support in this acquisition. The room erupted in gasps and whispers. Victoria grabbed James's arm. This is impossible. We own controlling shares. You owned, I corrected. Past tense. While you were busy mocking my business acumen, I was buying your company. Rather efficiently, I might add. Robert Chen stood up. The board voted unanimously this morning. The merger is complete. Victoria's perfectly made-up face contorted. James, did you know about this? My husband looked as shocked as his mother. Olivia, what have you done? Created a billion-dollar beauty empire, I answered. One that will actually innovate instead of riding on a 50-year-old reputation. The screens changed again, showing the new product lines, research facilities, and global expansion plans I've been developing. Rose and Pearl has been stagnant for years, I told the room. Relying on the same formulas, the same marketing, the same tired luxury narrative. Starting tomorrow, we revolutionize everything. Victoria marched toward the stage. You can't just. I already have. I held up my phone, showing her the SEC filing confirmation. Your charity dinner guests should be getting the news right about now. James finally found his voice. But I was supposed to inherit a company you know nothing about. I turned to him. When was the last time you even visited the labs? Met with the research team? Checked the quarterly reports? Victoria's face had gone from red to white. This is a hostile takeover. No, this is good business. Something you might recognize if you spent less time planning charity dinners and more time innovating your product line. The room was silent, watching the drama unfold. I turned back to the audience. Tomorrow we begin a new chapter, one where merit trumps legacy, innovation beats tradition, and real business acumen matters more than family names. As applause filled the room, I watched Victoria pull out her phone, presumably to call her lawyers. But we both knew it was too late. Sometimes, the best response to being called childish is to show them just how grown-up you can be. The morning after my announcement, I arrived at Rose and Pearl's flagship office building in Manhattan. By noon, the iconic gold lettering in the lobby would be replaced with Sullivan Rose Beauty Group. Victoria's portrait, which had dominated the entrance for 2 decades, was already being carefully removed. Mrs. Sullivan. The head of security approached. Mrs. Rose is demanding entry to her office. She's in the lobby with her legal team. Right on schedule. I found Victoria surrounded by 3 expensive-looking lawyers, all visibly uncomfortable. She had clearly dragged them straight from their country club breakfast. You can't lock me out of my own building, she declared, waving a manicured finger. Actually, the merger agreement specifically outlines the transition of executive offices, I said, holding up a document. Your personal items will be packed and delivered to your residence by this evening. This is my company. I corrected. The shareholders' agreement is quite clear. You haven't had controlling interests since last quarter. One of her lawyers whispered something in her ear. Her face reddened. Where's James? What have you done to my son? Your son is currently meeting with HR about his future role in the company, I said, checking my watch. If he wants one. Victoria's lawyers huddled together, frantically reviewing documents on their tablets. They already knew what they'd find. My team had spent months making this takeover ironclad. The board meeting is in an hour, I informed them. You're welcome to attend, Mrs. Rose. As a minority shareholder, you still have that right. She straightened her channel jacket. Oh, I'll be there, and you'll regret this little power play. The boardroom already looked different. Gone were the dark wood panels and heavy curtains Victoria had insisted on. The space was now modern and bright, with digital displays showing real-time market data and research metrics. James sat in his usual seat, looking lost without his mother at the head of the table. The board members who had attended Victoria's charity dinner instead of my announcement were trying very hard not to make eye contact with anyone. Let's begin, I said, taking my place at the head of the table. First quarter projections under the merger. This is absurd. Victoria burst in, her lawyers trailing behind. I demand we discuss this hostile takeover. The takeover was approved by majority shareholders. Robert Chen spoke up. The vote was unanimous. Because she manipulated the stock. Because I showed them actual innovation. I interrupted, pulling up the presentation slides. New formula patents. International expansion plans. A complete modernization of our manufacturing process. The screens filled with graphs, projections, and most importantly, profit forecasts that made several board members sit up straighter. While you were planning galas, I continued, I was developing next-generation beauty technology. While you were protecting your son's inheritance, I was securing partnerships with sustainable suppliers and innovative researchers. Our traditional methods are costing us market share every quarter. I switched to the competition analysis. We've fallen behind 3 major competitors in the past year alone. Our product line hasn't seen significant innovation in 5 years. The board members were now actively avoiding Victoria's gaze. Numbers didn't lie. And these numbers told a story of a company in desperate need of change. Now, I said, pulling up the next slide, let's discuss the rebranding timeline. James, Victoria turned to her son. Say something. James looked at the profit projections, then at me. For the first time, I saw something like respect in his eyes. How long have you been planning this? He asked quietly. Since the day you told me I was cute for wanting to modernize your mother's company, I replied, meeting his gaze. Since the day Victoria said I should focus on planning dinner parties instead of business strategies. Victoria sank into a chair. You've destroyed my legacy. No, I've saved it. Rose and Pearl was 3 years away from being obsolete. Now it's going to lead the industry into the next decade. Mrs. Sullivan, my assistant, interrupted. The press is ready for the official announcement. Victoria stood up. This isn't over. Actually, it is. I handed her lawyers another document, your non-compete agreement, standard in all executive transitions. She stared at the paper. You expect me to sign this? I expect you to read the terms of your golden parachute very carefully. It's quite generous, provided you cooperate with the transition. Her lawyers leaned in, whispering urgently. She sat back down, defeated. James, I turned to my husband. You have a choice to make. You can stay and learn the business properly, starting from product development, or you can take the severance package. Either way, you'll need to decide who you want to be, your mother's son or your own man. The boardroom was silent as James looked between his mother and me. Finally, he straightened his shoulders. I want to learn, really learn from the ground up. Victoria gasped. James? No, Mom. Olivia's right. I never earned my position here. It's time I did. I nodded. Report to R&D tomorrow morning. You'll start by understanding our products, not just wearing our name. As the board meeting continued, I watched Victoria sign the non-compete agreement with shaking hands. Her era was over, and she knew it. By evening, her portrait in the lobby had been replaced with a digital display showcasing our new product line. The company she guarded so jealously was transforming before her eyes. Sometimes the best way to save a legacy is to completely reinvent it. 3 months after the takeover, I studied the latest sales reports in what used to be Victoria's office. Our first product launch under the new brand had exceeded projections by 200%. The beauty industry was buzzing about our innovative sustainable packaging and breakthrough formulas. Mrs. Sullivan, my assistant, appeared. The Wall Street Journal reporter is here for the interview, and Mrs. Rose is hosting a competitive beauty industry tea at the plaza. I smiled. Victoria's attempts to maintain her influence had become increasingly desperate. Last week, she tried to organize a boycott of our products among her social circle. Their daughters, however, were already waitlisted for our new collection. Who attended her tea? I asked, curious. Mostly retired socialites. The major beauty editors all canceled. They are here for your interview instead. The journal reporter was young and sharp, armed with market research and pointed questions. Your first quarter results are impressive, she began. But there's talk about friction with the Rose family legacy. Legacy is meaningful only when it evolves, I replied. We're honoring the brand's heritage by ensuring its future. And your husband? Sources say he's working in product development now. As if on cue, James appeared at my door, wearing a lab coat instead of his usual designer suit. The new serum trials are showing promising results, he reported, then noticed the reporter. Sorry, I'll come back. No, stay, I invited. Tell us about the trials. For the next 10 minutes, James expertly detailed the scientific advances we'd made, his eyes lighting up with genuine enthusiasm. The reporter took rapid notes. You seem very different from the James Rose who used to appear in society pages, she observed. Because I'm finally doing something real, he answered, not just playing a role in my mother's script. After the reporter left, James lingered. Mother's hosting another tea today. I know. She's invited every beauty editor in Manhattan. And they're all here instead, covering our actual news. I handed him the latest market reports. How does it feel to earn attention rather than inherit it? He studied the numbers. Better. Much better. Our conversation was interrupted by a commotion outside. Victoria's voice carried through the office. This is still my name on the building. I opened my door to find her confronting our new head of marketing, a brilliant strategist who'd never set foot in a country club. Actually, I stepped in. It's Sullivan Rose now, and we're in a meeting with Vogue in 10 minutes. Victoria adjusted her Hermes scarf. I'm here to discuss the holiday collection. Our traditional customers are being surveyed about their actual preferences. I cut in, not just their social obligations. They won't accept these changes. I pulled up our sales data. They already have. Our new sustainable luxury line has a 50,000 person waitlist. Traditional enough for you? Victoria turned to James, her last resort. Darling, surely you see what she's doing to our family's reputation. James looked up from his research notes. She's saving it, Mom. Our old formulas were dated. Our marketing was stale. I've learned more about real business in 3 months than I did in 3 years of following your social calendar. Victoria's face crumpled slightly. The governor's wife is attending my tea today, while the governor's daughter is interviewing for our management training program, I countered. Times change, Victoria. Either adapt or become irrelevant. After she left, James shook his head. She'll never accept this, will she? She doesn't have to. Success speaks louder than social connections. Later that afternoon, I reviewed the final designs for our holiday collection. Modern, sustainable packaging replaced the dated gold and pearl motif Victoria had clung to for decades. The influencer campaign is ready, my marketing director reported. We've paired traditional luxury consumers with Gen Z sustainability advocates. The contrast is powerful. Victoria will hate it. Victoria is not our demographic anymore. The next morning, Women's Wear Daily ran a feature. Sullivan Rose: How a Beauty Empire Evolved from Social Status to Sustainable Success. Victoria's response came in the society pages. Traditional luxury under siege. The death of elegance. But the numbers told a different story. Our stock price had doubled. Celebrity waitlists for our products grew daily. Even Victoria's closest friends were quietly ordering our new collection. James found me reviewing expansion plans that evening. Mother's organizing a traditional luxury summit next month, he said, amused. To preserve heritage brands. While we're opening our sustainable research facility and launching in 3 new markets, I showed him the plans. Want to lead the Asia expansion. He looked surprised. You trust me with that? The James who earned his way through R&D? Yes. The James who relied on his last name? Never. He studied the proposal carefully. I'll need to learn Mandarin. Already arranged for lessons. Mother will say I'm abandoning our New York society obligations. While you're building a billion-dollar market, somehow, I think you'll survive the social scandal. As we worked late into the night, planning the future of the company, I thought about Victoria probably plotting her next society event, unaware that tomorrow we'd announce our international expansion. Unaware that with each innovation we launched, each market we entered, each sustainable initiative we championed, her version of luxury became more obsolete. The next morning, my new portrait was installed in the lobby, not a static oil painting like Victoria's, but a digital display alternating between images of our research labs, sustainability initiatives, and global reach. Sometimes the best way to handle someone who calls you childish is to grow beyond their limited vision.